Hey there, Nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with another episode of Into Darkness, our Space Station Zero solo play campaign. And this is battle report number 3, and this one is a Fabrication Bay challenge featuring my crew, Thundrik's Profiteers. Thundrik's Profiteers is a shipping crew from a ship called the Wayfarer, and they survived 2 different challenges up to this point, going through Docking Bay Access Point, as well as taking on the Repair Bay last time. So now we find ourselves at a Fabrication Bay with 3 fabricators, basically giant 3D printers that are on steroids and malfunctioning, creating swarm-like creatures that are patrolling around this area that need to be defeated. What I have to do basically is shut down all 3 of these fabrication bays, represented by these 3 gang relics located here on the table. We also have 3 swarms, which are basically represented by these guys here, the Neotechs for the Vansar. And then lastly, of course, I got to shut down the poison gas vent located there. Once I take care of all 3 sets of challenges, I will succeed in this one. And I do have the clock ticking against me because I do have poison gas flooding this system. Luckily for me, though, my team is pretty elite. Got 4-man crew stats. At the same time, I got a good collection of advanced tech and gear, as well as energy-based weapons, which is really going to help me out. Only 2 of my guys don't have energy-based weapons. That is Deadeye Lund, as well as my Kazgan Drexgewer, my soldier, as well as my medical officer. But yeah, this is the table we'll be playing on today, and this is the challenge we put in for ourselves. So that being said, real quick, we're going to play some background music real quick. As the music is playing, we'll go over the scenario rules, as well as talk about my roster as well. So that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll. Your crew enters this sparse bay to find remnants of what seems to be giant material printers. This bay was likely used for the fabrication of high-end technology and parts, though most of these machines have long since passed into disrepair. One machine on the far side of the room, however, appears to be running at its full steam as you enter, the buzz of activity filling the room. So this is the introduction to challenge number 4, the Fabrication Bay, and this one for obstacles and enemies. We have 3 different obstacles and enemies that we must overcome. First of all, we must take on swarm drones, which will be populating the battlefield, as well as a toxic leak, as well as a swarm jamming printing device as well. Now for the swarm drone, these guys actually have a life characteristic of 7, movement 4, 5 combat, 2 reaction, and 2 intelligence. Now they don't have any weapons per se, but they do flash out with their swarms of nearby enemies, which means it's a close combat attack. They also have a special ability called swarm resistance, and if the swarm drone is damaged by a weapon without the energy type, they reduce the damage suffered from the attack by 1 to a minimum 0. If they are damaged by an attack with the energy keyword, they suffer 2 additional damage as well. One of the challenges we also have to face is the toxic leak, which is a chemical, and this massive printer has slowly been leaking the toxic chemicals they use for printing, and the room is now full of harsh toxic gas. When a crew member activates, they must make a life save 2. If they fail, they suffer damage equal to the amount by which they failed the test. There is a vent marked on the map, and any crew member within 1 inch of this objective may make a reaction challenge test 4 to activate the vent. If successful, the toxic gas is removed from the room, and crew members that activate no longer need to make life challenges tests mentioned above. After that, we also have the swarm jamming technology. That's an alien technology. It is a fabricator. Any crew member that moves within 1 inch of these fabricators may attempt to utilize the parts to build an improvised weapon to jam the signal that enables the swarm drones to maintain coherency. Building the SAM jammer device requires an intelligence challenge of 4 with an 8+ challenge. This is an alien technology test. If this test is successful, the crew member gains the weapon below, which is only effective against swarm drones. That swarm jammer is a range energy-based weapon. It utilizes intelligence instead of combat, and if the challenge test is successful, the enemy swarm drone is immediately out of action and removed from play. Now, for the rewards in this scenario, at the end of the challenge, 1 crew member may make an intelligence challenge 4 single roll. If this is successful, they may manage to reprogram one of the fabricators to produce a single piece of equipment from its remaining resources, choose 1 piece of equipment from the advanced technology list, and add it to your crew. And this is the scenario rules for challenge number 4, the Fabrication Bay. So with the scenario rules over with, let's talk about deployments and get this battle report on a roll. Alright, so now that scenario rules are over with, let's go and talk about deployment real quick. So up in the front, I got Garrett Allenson, which is my pilot, followed by Deadeye Line, which is my medical officer. Right next to him is Enric Ironhell, which is my engineer, followed by Bergen Thundrik, my commander, and finally Kazgan Draxkewer, which is my soldier as well. Pretty much my plan is to pretty much keep my team together as much as possible. I'm planning on going along the left-hand flank here, attacking this first swarm drone and deactivating that fabricator, so that way I could use that for the next set of drones, deactivate that fabricator, and hopefully make it all the way to the end to turn off the gas vent, and then take out that one as well. Keeping the principle of mass together with my troops so that way I can exploit their skills and their abilities is going to be really important. Now, depending on how much damage I take from the swarms, as well as from the poison gas, I might have to defend it at my team. If I do so, I'll probably take my pilot as well as Kazgan Draxkewer and my pilot Garrett Allison, have them move directly towards that poison gas vent and shut it down as quickly as possible. At the same time, leave the rest of my fighters to deal with these enemies. Most of my guys have energy missile weapons, so because of that, I should be able to be okay for most of the attacks going on, but you never know. After all, this is Space Station Zero. So now that we're done talking about deployments and my overall plan, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, and I get the activation first. I will return after my turn 1 actions. Alright, so this is after my activations for turn number 1, so let's talk about exactly what I ended up doing. So first of all, I activated Garrett Allenson, my pilot. He moved up forward to open fire with his energy-based weapon directly into this very first swarm character. I was able to put 5 wounds on him because I managed to roll double successes on that one with 2 12s. So that part was absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, I was not able to actually activate the second time, so this swarm guy actually moved up as close as he could directly towards Garrett Allenson, trying to engage him in close combat, but had to move double movement in order to do that. From there, I then activated Enric Ironhell, my engineer. He did a double movement forward with his activation. Unfortunately, he took a wound because he failed the gas leak test, so because of that, he is kind of rough. At the same time, he's also got +1 to his combat score as well, which is going to be important because he's only armed with a heavy kinetic weapon, which is going to be a problem against some of these swarms. Now from there, of course, the next one that was activated was this swarm character all the way from up here. He did double movement using his AI to go directly towards Enric Ironhell to actually engage him in close combat as well. Now, as the rest of the campaign continues, I then move up Deadeye Lund. Deadeye Lund actually moved up his normal allowance and tried to open fire directly into the swarm, but unfortunately was unable to cause any damage, which then triggered this third swarm guy to come up directly from his deployment area and go directly into him using double movements. From there, I then moved up Bergen Thundrik. He actually passed his life test, so he actually moved up and tried to shoot directly into this guy, but unfortunately, I rolled a bunch of odds, so because none of those successes actually went through, so this swarm is still alive. And then finally, Kazgan Draxkewer then used his teleportation ability for his point-to-point teleporter to teleport himself away from this area directly behind this swarm guy and attacked him with his heavy melee weapon. Luckily for me, though, I got 2 critical successes on that part, so I was able to destroy this guy in one fell swoop, even though he was only using a melee weapon with no energy traits on it. So now I have 2 of these guys killed. I still have a gas vent to worry about, as well as fabricators. So we go directly to the top of turn number 2, and we start with my first activation. Alright, so that takes directly to the end of turn number 2. So my very first activation, of course, I activated Bergen Thundrik. He tried to, of course, attack the swarm drone, but unfortunately, though, I failed to do any damage whatsoever. So the swarm drone activated next, managed to put 2 damage directly onto Deadeye Lund, my medical officer. However, though, from a medical officer, I used my commander's logistic ability, so that way Deadeye Lund can move up forward twice. He moved forward 8 inches directly to this fabricator, managed to get 1 success on that one, so I have a bunch more I gotta do to take care of that one. Now, basically, for the rest of the turn, Kazgan Draxkewer then flew over here using his teleporter to attack the swarm drone. I put 2 damage on him, but because he's a swarm and it's not an energy-based weapon, I was only able to put 1 damage onto him. The rest of the turn was Garrett Allenson as well as Enric Ironhell going up directly to this fabricator, trying to pass this intelligence check. I was lucky to get 3 of these on there, which is absolutely fantastic. The only problem, though, is that I have to do 1 more in order to get this one off. I got 3 more to do that one, and then I got to turn off this gas vent as well as hit that fabricator as well. So I still have my work cut out for me because poison gas is still a very serious threat. So with turn number 2 over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 3. Alright, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 3. So for my very first activation, activate Bergen Thundrik. Bergen Thundrik used his movement using his jump boost to teleport himself 7 inches and flying this direction, and then had to turn around and open fire with his energy missile weapon because it doesn't do very good against close combat. Was able to put 1 additional wound directly onto the swarm character, so that part was kind of nice. At the same time, also moving up here so that way I could take care of this fabricator as well. Luckily for me, he also passed his poison gas test, so no harm, no foul there. I was able to steal initiative real quick, which is kind of nice, by rolling a 10. It's because that Kazgan Draxkewer does go next. He does attack with his heavy melee weapon, but nothing much really happens. And of course, the swarm drone does try to attack back, Well, luckily for me though, that heavy melee weapon did help me out in my defense, so I was able to stay okay from there. Now for the rest of the team, unfortunately Garrett Allenson suffered a wound from the poison gas attacks, but combined with both Eric Ironhell as well as Garrett Allenson, was able to successfully disable this fabricator with 5 intelligence checks. Meanwhile, over here in the top over here, I still have Deadeye Lund still repairing it. He managed to get 2 of them because he got 2 critical successes, which is kind of nice. My plan here is then to have Garrett Allenson move up directly towards this alien and take that swarm out using that new swarm weapon, so that way it can cause all kinds of problems for my enemy. And that pretty much makes up turn number 3. So with turn number 3 over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 4, and I once again get initiative. Alright, so for turn number 4, I decided to activate Garrett Allenson, my pilot, first. He moves up his normal movement allowance of 4 inches forward and uses his swarm jammer directly against this swarm drone. Managed to take that guy out with no problem, because all I do is take an intelligence test. As long as I pass that test, that thing is automatically destroyed, which is all kind of awesome. So with that being said, with all the threats over with, it pretty much leaves up my activations now to move about the battlefield and to turn off these fabricators as well as the poison gas. So the first thing, of course, to do is I take Thundrik, Bjorgen Thundrik. He does try to do a intelligence check, was able to get one of these off, so this fabricator's got 4 more before it's disabled. Meanwhile, over here, Enric Ironhell moves up as quick as he can, doing double movements directly towards this fabricator to help out Kazgan, to help out Deadeye Lund. Deadeye Lund was able to get another success on this one, so I only need 2 more before that one is finally disabled. And finally, Kazgan Draxgear uses point-to-point teleporter, looking through these windows in order to see where he's going to go. Teleports right next to this, to the poison of gas leaks with his reaction test. Was able to get 3 of those off, so I only got 1 more before that's fully completed. So now all I got to worry about now is taking care of the environmental challenges, and then I'm ready to go. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn 5. Alright, so that's directly at the beginning of turn number 5. As you can see, since there's no more opponents left in the battlefield, all I had to do is take care of the challenges. So the first thing I do is I activate Kazgan Draxgear. He actually managed to get his last reaction test to turn off the gas vent, so now I don't have to worry about taking more gas penalties anymore, which is awesome. And then he uses point-to-point teleporter or move out to this last Fabrication Bay to help out. And meanwhile, Bjorgen Thundrik also moves up as well, so that way you can make some room around this objective, so that way you can have Garrett Allenson move up as quick as he can to help out. Was able to get 1 intelligence test taking care of that Fabrication Bay, so we got 3 more to go. Garrett Allenson moves up his mobile movement allowance in order to go directly to this Fabrication Bay to help out. And lastly, over here, we go through the combined efforts of both Deadeye Lund as well as Enric Ironhell. I was able to finally take off that very last fabricator, which is all kinds of awesome. And that pretty much turns out turn number 5. So with turn number 5 over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 6. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 6, and of course for this one, it was all kinds of successes for me. So the first thing that happened, of course, is I left my crew members over here because there's no need for them to move at this point. However, over here on the right-hand side, through the combined efforts of Garrett Allenson, Kazgan Draxgear, as well as Bjorgen Thundrik, I was able to finally get out the very last intelligence check on top of this fabricator, getting me a victory on this scenario for challenge number 3, which is the Fabrication Bay. Now, because of this, let's talk about the post game real quick. Bjorgen Thundrik earns 2 additional experience points, as do the rest of my crew members as well. None of them actually level up during this case, but I do manage to take an intelligence check for my medical engineer, my medical officer. Managed to get 4 successes on that part, so because I was able to get an advanced piece of technology, which in this case was a pair of jump boots, which I've given to Garrett Allenson. So now he's movement 6 with the fly special rule. And that pretty much makes up my scenario for this one. So because of that, I decided to take a look real quick at where my options were. I decided to take the rusted door at the end of this, which leads us to challenge number 2, is where I'll be playing to next. And that pretty much makes it for this one. So that's good for those of you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this one, guys, for Into Darkness, our solo play for Space Station Zero. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and stay classy.